Welcome to the Winning Edge Investments Podcast. Winning Edge Investments provides industry-leading horse racing and sports betting tips, ratings and education, enabling you to invest intelligently and treat your betting like a business. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com to learn more about how you can start to supercharge your betting bank immediately. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.
Today on the Winning Edge podcast, we're joined by trainer Bryan Guy. G'day, Bryan. How are you?
Very good, thanks, Brad.
Pleasure to have you on the show, mate. Somewhat of a surprise that you've called time on your racing career after 40 years as a trainer. What's the reason, mate?
I just come to the time when the property that I'm on, we got a good offer for it, and I've been doing it since I was about 13. So really, it was, I'm turning 67 this year, and I just thought to myself, instead of getting up at 3:30 in the morning, I can have a sleep in and enjoy life a bit.
Yep. Were you still enjoying the game, or is that part of the reason? Yep.
My numbers went down a bit in horses, and really, you'd like to be going every Saturday to town, Doomben Eagle Farm every Saturday, and we just didn't have the numbers or the horses for that. So I decided to, just go to the Ipswich thing, and if we had one to go to town, we'd take it, of course. But I still enjoy winning, but I'd rather be winning Saturday class races.
Yep. You've won 4 Group 1, so it must be hard to take horses out to Ipswich and those kind of places.
Yeah, but Ipswich make you welcome out there. The committee out there is quite good, and same as the Gold Coast. So it's not too bad, but yeah, it's pretty good. You keep winning a race there, money's all the same.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us where it all began for you. You started in Sydney?
Yeah, started in Sydney. Grew up at Parramatta, like Rose Hill area, and started riding track work for my father. He got permission for me to ride work at 13, and I started riding work then, and then going to school and doing all that. I wasn't real good at school, but I loved sports days. They were good.
When did you stop riding track work?
I used to ride the pony. If we had a horse playing up or something like that, I used to ride the pony.
Yep.
And lead it out onto the track. I suppose right up in around 30, I suppose.
Yep. Do you miss that part of the industry, or?
Yeah, I miss the riding part. I used to love riding, and you get older, you get bigger and heavier.
Yep. Harder you fall.
and it's hard to get on.
So you started track work riding, you started training, you ended up winning Group 1s in the 90s.
Yep.
Then you came to the Gold Coast in the early 2000s?
I moved here permanently in 2000, but Daniel and a foreman and friend of mine, Russell Booth, he passed away a couple of months ago. He come up with Daniel, and they set the whole scene up here. We sent up about half a dozen horses to start with. And we had a bit of luck, and then I was sending horses up and we were winning races, and then we got to know owners up here, and we ended up with more horses. But it was Daniel and Russell that started off, and they were here for probably about 3 years before I decided to come up.
So back to life at Rose Hill, who were the other big name trainers you're up against there?
Right, believe it or not, when Dad was alive, I rode work for Jack Denham. When we'd finish our horses, we'd go across and help Jack finish off his horses.
Yep.
In the period of time when I started training, Jack Denham was probably the biggest trainer there at the time, and then myself, and then there was Kerry Jordan and Chris Jordan. They were there, and Kim Moore, now Kim Moore, she was there. It was a good bunch of people there. We're all pretty good mates. Barry Lockwood, Brucey Johnson, we're all pretty good mates.
So what made you come up to the Gold Coast?
Well, as I said, I had the satellite stable here, and we just thought it was time to move. Our property down there was the same. We had across the road from us was Nebo Lodge, and they'd knocked it down and built a Woolworths, a bottle shop, a pizza, a restaurants and everything like that. And that was across the road. The traffic got heavier and heavier around the area. And then they started building stables on track. And I really, I thought to myself, why own them and pay rent? I owned the places, and then I was going to go and pay rent and live on the course and still live off where I was. But I just said, no, that's enough. We got the stable going. The boys have got the stable going good enough up here. Let's move. And we decided that was it.
And you've been in a training partnership with your son Daniel for a while. So what's he going to do now that you're retiring?
We got a lot of finishing up to do, which he'll handle, the office part of it, which that's what he does, and he'll get all that finished off, and then he'll probably have a month off or something, and he'll work out what he wants to do then. But it doesn't matter if anybody wanted somebody like a good racing manager or something like that. He'd be ideal for it. Even working as working for Queensland Racing or Racing Queensland, whatever, he'd be brilliant at that sort of job.
Yep, sounds like he'll be right.
Yeah, he's only a young bloke. He's 40, so 42.
What about yourself?
Here, I think.
Had a few on. What about yourself? Will you stay in racing or?
No. I'll get out of it for a while. I hope a little bit long down in the part. I might own a horse here, or buy a share of the horse here, and so I can annoy the trainer like I've had that with over the years. No, but Daniel, we've still got Daniel's got some clients from Hong Kong, and they're very good. And matter of fact, they own Golden Hardy, and they're racing the Magic Millions this year, and they've got 3 or 4 horses, and they've told Daniel they want them to manage them horses, and they also said, we want your father, if we're going to buy any more, we want your father to buy them for us at the sales.
Okay.
So, we'll do something like that when the sales come around.
Have you had much involvement in buying horses from the sales, like, by yourself previously, or?
I've done it all my life. You buy horses all the time.
Yep.
We've had a bit of luck and buying horses. I bought a good horse of mine, Ravada. I only found him at a sale in Brisbane. I bought him for 10 grand. He ended up finishing his career winning 1.2 million back in the 90s sort of thing.
Yeah, it's big money back then.
Yeah. And even Golden Hardy, I only paid 30,000 for him.
So he's one of the best horses you've got in the stable at the moment. Where are the other horses going to go?
Some have gone to Ben Hull. I had 3 horses here for John and George Moore when John gave it away, and of course my relationship with John goes back a long time, and we had a bit of luck. We won a Group 1 with Eagle Way when he was still training in Hong Kong. So, and he had 3 horses here, and I just said, when I told him what was happening, he turned around and where would you send him? And we sent him around to a mate. Actually, he's a friend of George's, and so Benny Hull will get 3. Glenn Thornton, which moved from Melbourne, the father of Stephanie, Boris and Damien.
Yep.
He's come up here with 3 or 4 horses, and I introduced him to a couple of the owners here, and they're going to give him his horses, so he's going to build his string up a little bit more.
Oh, that's good.
So, we just spread them around, and a few are going to go through the stars.
Yep, perfect. You spoke about Ravada before. Was he the best horse you had?
The best money horse I think I had, because I owned 5-6 of him.
Oh, perfect. You can say he's the best then.
Yeah, I think the best probably horse was All Our Mob. He won a Strab Rate for me, and we lost him. But that whole family, Dad had trained that whole family, and that family, as they got older, they got better. And he ran in a Cox Plate, and he won a Newmarket. He was a very good horse,
Yep. You spoke about Ravada earlier. Won the 96 George Ryder and $41. Did you like him in the race?
Well, the race before, he raced in the Newmarket at Newcastle, and Wayne Harris rode him, and he got a knocked pillar to post. And Wayne come back in and turned around and said, Brian, don't worry about the run. The run was very, very good. He just got flattened everywhere. And from that day till when the George Ryder day, he'd worked well. did very well in himself. And matter of fact, we did give him a bit of a chance. We knew he'd dare put himself out of trouble outside the leader, and he just excelled that day. Like in that race that day, there was 16 runners, 15 were Group 1 winners, and he beat horses like Encores, Flying Spur, Mahogany, Juggler, March Hare. They were just brilliant horses.
And he did it. The jockey weighed in overweight, didn't he?
Yeah, he come in 1.5 kilos over. So
how did that happen?
I don't know. I don't know what jockeys
Wouldn't happen these days, would it?
No. I think back then he got a pretty hefty fine. I think he got about a 3,000 fine for it.
Yep. It would have been a fair spray if you got done by a neck.
Yeah, well, I didn't know until after he weighed back in that he was heavier. So if he had got beaten in the neck, I think they might have hit it from me because I would have went crook.
Yeah, I reckon. I wouldn't want to know about that.
Yeah.
He had an amazing career. He's up against the likes of Octagonal, Flying Spur, our Maze K. So yeah, must have been a really talented horse.
Oh yeah, well he ran second to our Mace Gay in the Caulfield Guineas. Octagonal run third. You talk about Octagonal and Octagonal was a champion. There's no doubt about that. But in that era, he was probably in the top 4 or 5 3-year-olds that era, and that was Saintly. All those sort of horses were in that era.
Yep. And Eagle Way won the Derby up here in Queensland in 2016. Then went on to Hong Kong. Must have been pretty thrilled to see him thrive over there as well. Yeah,
it was after he won the Derby, we knew he was going to Hong Kong because John owned him and he was going over there. And then they had the internationals in December, and he won. He won straight away. He won a mile race over there straight away, and it was a great thrill to see him go over there. And I can tell you, I don't think I missed any of his runs. We watched them all when he was in Hong Kong, and the horse raced very well over there, and he did a good job. Somebody told me the other day the amount of money he earned in prize money, and it was astronomical.
Yeah,
really.
20 million, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, 20 million, believe it or not. That was just unbelievable.
I'm not sure how that translates to our money, but I'm sure it's a lot.
Normally about 5 to 1. So
yeah, that's not bad.
No,
yeah, great horse. Training in general, what's the hardest part of training, and how's it kind of evolved over the years, over the 40 years for you?
The hardest part for me was probably trying to train the owners.
What's the worst experience you've had with an owner?
Oh, geez, mate.
No names.
You just have people that they think they know, but they didn't know. If I could put it that way, and you just put up with it. And, you roll along with the punches, and you keep getting up and going again. But probably I wouldn't like to say any of the worst experiences, but I tell you what, I've had a lot of good experiences.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of good experience, a lot of good people.
Must have a lot of loyal owners.
I still had owners when I took over in 2000, 92 when Dad died, and them owners were still with me up until, one owner is still with me. I've still got a horse in for him tomorrow. And he would come to Dad in the early 70s, I think. And he's still got a horse here with me. And we've got another couple up here that live up here, Amalgamated Milk. He raced under, and that was Jimmy and Betty Forsyth. And up until about 3 or 4 years ago, they raced horses with me. He's 88 this year, So really, it's have them older clients around. It's been terrific.
They'd obviously be disappointed that you're giving it away, though.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy stopped owning horses, as I said, 3 or 4 years ago. Tony that lives in Sydney, he's probably got, I reckon he's got to be around in his 90s now. And when I told him, he said, he said, give a mare a run, put her in the sale. And he said, put me young one in the sale. You're giving it away, so am I. and he's in his 90s. I reckon he'd be around about that,
Yeah.
But I've got another terrific bloke up here that raced with me when I turned up here, a bloke called Rick Hill. He come to me met me at the Magic Million sales one day and said, I want to buy a horse. We bought a horse, and 20 odd years later, he's still here, nowhere else. So, and he was probably a little bit disappointed that I was giving it away because we ended up pretty good mates. But you know, he's going to race. Glenn Thornton's going to get those horses, so it's good.
There's a good future for the Gold Coast Turf Club up here, isn't there? Isn't there? Lights going in pretty soon. It's a good place to be an owner and a trainer.
Oh yeah, you know, it's going to be good if the lights do get in. It's,
if they eventuate. I've been talking about it for years.
They've been talking about it for a long time, but you know, it's still in the back burners, I suppose. But you know, they're supposed to be going to do all the track and everything up here, which will make it better again. And you know, but this little track, I shouldn't say little track. This track up here is unbelievable to do what it does. You know, like it races, I reckon,
Every
around
Saturday
60 metres a year,
Yep.
and maybe a little bit more. And it just keeps backing up every Saturday. And the bloke that runs it here, that Steve Andrews, he does a sensational job.
Yep. All right, mate. What about racing in general? How do you see racing can improve going forward? What's the challenges and opportunities it's got?
Well, racing now has changed a lot from, you know, when I started and everything. It's a lot. It used to be fun. It used to be, you know, you'd have the thing, but now it's a business, and it's a business that you know, like syndicators have come in, and it's the only way you can get people into horses to syndicate horses where they can take small shares. If you have a look through, you don't see a horse, very rarely you see a horse owned by one owner anymore, because it's got very dear to race horses, and Sydney's upping their prize money all the time. Valandi's doing a job down there for them, and up here we've got to keep putting it up. We're going up, but Racing Queensland's got to keep putting it up. They've got to get their heads out of their behinds and see where we are and get this going. And the government up here needs to do the same thing.
Is that the main challenge for Queensland, is prize money, keeping up with Sydney?
I think so. A lot of people, but when you say that, we do get pretty full fields up here of a Saturday. Yeah. You know, you look at the Saturday races and we get pretty full fields, and I think the turnover is pretty good now. It went off for a while. Eagle Farm's been the main problem for them up here. If they can get that back going right again, I think that'll go better again.
What's your thoughts on the track there? How do they need to fix it?
Eagle Farm, it was great. Back in 2016, the first meet, and I thought it was terrific. I won the Derby, and everybody
best track in Australia.
Everybody said the track's no good. I said nothing.
It's perfect. If you got the right horse, it is.
Yeah, but they've had a lot of trouble, and you know they've got to come back to the basics with it. I think, you know, they're trying all these new stuff and this and that, and you've only got to look across the road at Doomben. You know, Doomben's took all the pressure off Eagle Farm, and it just kept going. You know, and they turned around, and so I couldn't understand why they didn't do the same profile, but. You know, times have changed. People says this is better, that's better.
Yep.
And they've gone with the modern times, and it just hasn't worked on these tracks.
Yep, have to find a different approach.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot a bit here. Best horse and trainer and jockey worldwide, Australia and Queensland. What about best horse you've seen around the world?
Best horses I've ever, like around the world or in Australia?
Let's do both.
Around the world, well. You know, I watch Hong Kong a lot. You know, it's an able friend and all them sort of horses. They did sensational things. Silent Witness, the horse over there now, Golden 60, is it?
Yep.
He's done a great job for Francis. You know, so there's Australia. I go back to my kids' days, and I reckon the best horse I saw race was Vane. I love Vane. I don't know why. He was just a horse that really. You know, he won a Golden Slipper by half a furlong, and he was a lovely horse, you know. And I was only a kid then. More modern times, you've got to say Octagonal was great. He did Long Road, did a lot of good things, you know.
You beat him a few times, Octagonal?
Yeah. So, but, you know, and then your trainers come in, well, you know, back in the day, well, old Tommy Smith did everything, and you know, and that was Dad's era, and that found it tough because you had Tommy Smith, you had Mark Cummings, you had Jack Denham, and then virtually Dad. Dad was always in the top half a dozen. You know, Neville Begg was there, and They're all great trainers. Now, you probably look at... I still believe that John Hawkes was probably the better trainer that I've seen here because he run 4 states.
Yep.
Sydney,
Hard to do.
Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, and he was the top in each state. And that's not easy. That's looking after a lot of horses, and he done a great job. And I still believe that in my sort of time, I thought John was probably one of the better trainers.
What about in Queensland, the best horse you've seen up here?
Best horse I've seen up here. Well, I can give you 3, what I thought, but...
Eagle Way. Eagle Way, Bravada. All our mob.
They're close to the heart. I don't know, probably Buffering.
Yep.
Buffering.
Yep.
Like, he couldn't do any more than what he did.
Exactly.
He kept coming back, and he went overseas. He did everything, so you've got to say Buffering.
Yep. Looking to the future in Queensland, what about the best or the jockeys and trainers you think will dominate for the next couple of years?
Up here? Well, at the moment, you've got a lot of them coming up from, getting to their twilight sort of years and coming here and riding, and they seem to be riding quite well. You've still got Larry Cassidy who's riding well, Robbie Fard's another one, Jimmy Burns still riding well. The kids coming through, you've got Kyle Wilson-Taylor, you've got Jaden Lloyd and young Zach Lloyd.
Who's the best out of that bunch, the young ones coming through, do you think?
Yeah,
if you had to choose one.
I've got a soft spot for Zach Lloyd.
Yep. Yeah, he's got a good pedigree.
Oh, yeah, very good. And I don't think he's a bad kid, We have a bit of banter of a morning at the track there, and we tell him how the girls are riding better than him, and he goes crook. But there is some nice... there's a young girl up here that's riding winner after winner at the moment, Jasmine Cornish.
Yeah, yep. I think she got a fall the other day. I'm not
She's
sure if she's
good.
out for a bit, but yeah, she's very underrated.
Yeah, probably probably the best. There's two apprentices to me in my area stand out up here in the past. It's been Michael Rod and Zach Purton. You only got to look what Zach's doing, and you only have to have a look to see what Michael did. So they're probably 2 of the better riders that I've seen through my area up here as a trainer.
And your very first runner as a trainer was a winner, All Our Mob at Rose Hill. Did you think that he'd be as good as he was back in the day on that first run?
Well, Dad had him, and he always showed us something, always. And that family, you go back to his mother, All Soul, or Dad trained her, and they always got better as they got older. Like, it was All Soul, there was All Archie, there was All Stormy, and they got better and better and better. And he was just it's exactly what he did. As he got older, he got better.
Yep. So you had your first runner a winner. Can you go out with your last runner a winner tomorrow at the Gold Coast? You've got a good team in?
I'd like to hope so. The one I thought that probably could nearly win drew barrier 18, so he's not running. We've decided not to run him, and he was owned by John and George Moore, and I said to them, well, you don't want to see him sitting out in the limb and run last.
Yep.
So just because I've going to finish up tomorrow. So we decided to scratch him from the barrier. A horse called Applications. He ran 3rd the other day at the Sunshine Coast. He got left in front 600 metres from home, and his run was very good. And I got a Smoky down here, I think can run a good race in the 1800 metre race. It's called Quiver, but it's spelt a Gaelic way. It's very unusual.
CA? Is that?
Yeah, CA, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought she could go quite good. And in the same race, there's a filly called Ober Perkler, which didn't run a bad race the other day at the Sunshine Coast. So there's a couple there.
Perfect. All right, mate. Well, thanks for the chat, and hopefully you can go out a winner tomorrow. And congratulations on a fantastic career over 40 years.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Bryan.
At Winning Edge Investments, our team of highly skilled expert analysts and full-time professional punters review the data, crunch the figures, assess the best betting opportunities, and deliver them to your phone via our app and your email inbox in real time so you profit. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com. Look at our membership options. Make your choice and enter the promo code PODCAST to receive a special 25% discount on your first membership just for listening. That's PODCAST in capital letters for a 25% ongoing discount on your first membership. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.